A very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you all to the third seminar that the District Bar Association is organizing this afternoon. Friends, as you all know, that today's topic is consolidation. So we have with us today Senior Advocate Sri Achyutananda Mahapatra sir and Sri S.S. Shukla sir to speak up on the topic. So without taking much of your time, may I invite Sri Achyutananda Mahapatra sir to come up onto the dais and Sri S.S. Shukla sir to come up onto the dais. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Honorable President to preside over the meeting. Thank you.
আজি আমার 3 নম্বর আরম্ভ হচ্ছে সে প্রথম আমার সিনিয়র অচ্যুতানন্দ মহাপাত্রଙ୍କୁ କହିବି ଯେ ତାଙ୍କର ଚକବନ୍ଦୀ ଉପରେ ଯାହା ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି କହିବେ।
Honorable President Sir, Secretary of our association, Joint Secretary of our association, my friend Sri Shukla, and my friends in the front line and my colleagues. While welcoming you all to this seminar, I must give a thanks to our body as well as our members who have percolated this idea of having these seminars to discuss on various topics on the law points and mostly to which we are dealing in our area. Now today's topic is the Odisha Consolidations of Holdings and Prevention of Fragmentation of Land Act. What is the aim and object for legislation of a statute? As we all know, in 70s, the economists of the world, they thought that our agreeable lands, the lands under cultivation, are diminishing day by day. And the density of the population is increasing by day and day. And for the increasing population, we have to need the land for their dwellings. And if the land should be utilized for the dwellings, then the extents of the agreeable lands shall diminish. So there was a thought, not only of the politicians but also of the economists, that how to this increasing population our production will be more so as to cater the need of the public, at least in the food sector. So that was the need. And while keeping that end in view, some of the agriculturists, the social thinkers, the economists, they all gave their suggestions. That the first suggestion is that we have to grow more food from a particular lesser extent of land. When our productivity per acre was about 10 to 12 quintals, they thought that it should be 40 to 50 quintals of paddy per acre. So how it can be possible? Then they took that it can be possible by the farm mechanism, it can be possible by utilizing the chemical fertilizers and other scientific methods. And the most important factor that they were thought, that our lands that are going to be scattered and subdivided from generations to generation. For example, if a landowner had a piece of land consisting of 5 acres, one plot, one patch, he had 5 sons. That 5 acres was divided. The 4 to 5 reaches, the reach they put. So for putting that reach, some of the extent of the agreeable land, that diminished. And again, those 5 sons, they have another siblings. So in this way, the putting of the reach from pieces to pieces, so the lands that lost its productivity because of the non-agriculture or not performance of the agriculture. That is why it thought expedient to consolidate the land which are in scattered. Suppose a person is having 15 land in 15 places of different categories. So the lawmakers, they thought, at best they can be accommodated in 3 places. In other words, the maximum 3 choko can be allotted to a landowner, so that this cattle land will be consolidated, and as far as practicable, there shall be road facilities to their choko, so that the cultivation can be made by the farm mechanism and by applying the scientific technique. And that is why the productivity of the land will be more. Keeping that end in view, this Orissa Consolidations of Holdings and Fragmentation of Land Act 1972 has been enacted. As we all know, our constitution, it gives the 3 types of statute or the powers. One is the powers that is there with the central government, which we call the Central Act. The second is the of the state government, and the third one is in the concurrent list. Both state and the center, they are having the power. So this is the constitutional provision. So that has been given. So this Consolidations of Holdings Act, a draft bill was first introduced in 1965. And that draft bill was given a final step by the government of India, that since it is a state subject, because it comes under the revenue administration, therefore each state government shall have their own law. And that is why the first law that came into force was the Uttar Pradesh Consolidations of Holdings Act 1968. So that was first introduced. And thereafter, the Punjab and the other states, they took, and finally in 1972, our Odisha Legislative Assembly, this brought this act, Odisha Consolidations of Holdings and Prevention of Fragmentation of Land Act 1972. In this act, we are having about the which is in practice, we are at present, we are having about 227 registration, that is acts, in our Odisha state. 227টা আইন ওড়িশা স্টেট ভিতরে আছে রেভিনিউ ল, এবং those revenue laws have been started from the year 1951 after our constitution came into existence on 26 January 1950. The first enactment that was done was the Jamidari Abolition Act 1951. The Jamidari were abolished. Then the many other laws came. Then this Gonti system was abolished in the year 1960. Then this Village Police Abolition Act that was abolished in 1963 and 65. There are two sets. Then the intermediary rights those persons they were having under the different tenancy laws. All those tenancy laws were come to an end, and all those powers that were conferred by the British government were abolished, and they all came under the Orissa Tenancy Act. So that thereafter, the many enactments have been done, and this Orissa Consolidation of Holding Act is a departure from all the acts. Because we have dealt with the cases in the Orissa Land Reforms Act, in the Orissa Village Police Abolition Act, and the many acts like that. But in none of the act, the power of the civil code has been taken away. This is the most significant legislation, that is the Consolidation Act. Here in this Consolidation Act, after publication of a notification under Section 3, the power of the civil code has been taken away, and if any suit pending on the date of notification, then that will abate, and power has been conferred on the consolidation authorities to decide the right, title and interest of the party. The most important and significant changes what that has been made in this Orissa Consolidation Holding Act. Now, we may say that why it has been done. As we know that the common law, there is a general law, there is a general statute, and there is special statute. And it is the rule of law that the special statute has always precedence over the general statute. The statute which has been passed by the government of India and is applicable to the whole of India, if that is there and a state law is there enacted, then the state law will prevail and not the central statute. So that is the precedent. So this Orissa Consolidation of Holdings and Prevention of Land Act is a very landmark legislation where absolute power has been conferred on the revenue authorities to decide the right, title and interest of the parties. Now this Orissa Consolidation of Holding Act has been divided into 6 chapters. 6 chapters. One is preliminary. And this is chapter 1. It is section 1 and 2. It is short titled Extent and its Commitment. In our area, in the Hirakut command area, especially in our Sambalpur district, in 1978, May 1978, the notification under section 3 were published. Therefore, from May 1978, we are brought under this fold of this Orissa Consolidation of Holding Act. And thereafter, whatever suits that were pending in the common law code, whether it is in the civil code or in any other tribunal, that were abated, and it came to the jurisdiction for disposal before the consolidation authorities. Now, we'll come later on. Then the second is our chapter 2. Chapter 2 is preparation of map and land register. and it goes from section 3 to 15. Section 3 to 15. So section wise discussion is not possible within this small time because it is a vast act. And the third chapter is preparation of the consolidation scheme. Then fourth chapter is enforcement of the scheme, how that scheme would be enforced. And the fifth chapter is prevention of fragmentation. Then the sixth chapter is miscellaneous, whatever there. So now, when this is the provision, then we may profitably divided this act into two parts. First, the first part is how the land will be consolidated. Our act says that the consolidations of holding, but what holdings will be consolidated? So therefore, for preparation of the holdings in the name of the each landowner, the consolidation authorities had to decide the right title and interest of the parties. That is why, soon after section 3, the consolidation authorities, they are to go to the village. That is called preparation of land register. They will go to the village. Whether the tenants they are willing or not willing, a consolidation committee will be framed, and in each committee there shall be a committee for each village, and each committee shall consist of at least 15 members. That is called a consolidation committee. And in consultation with the consolidation committee, a valuation of the land will be prepared, which will be the best land in the unit, that is in the village, that will be taken as a standard plot, and the value of that standard plot is 1 rupee or 100 paisa. Then the inferior capacity will be 90 paisa, 80 paisa, 70 paisa at par its existence or suitability for cultivation, but there must be a value. It is the first time the valuation of the land has been made by the Odisha Consortium of Holding Act. None of the act, the valuation in any registration. So for each plot of land, there will be a valuation. Then they will prepare, they will go to the village, and they will exercise the power of the Odisha Survey and Settlement Act. The procedure which adopts in preparation of the map and land register, they will adopt the procedure that is there under the Odisha Survey and Settlement Act. So that is another thing that we are not coming now. That will take much time. Now after this preparation, they will prepare a land register. After deciding the right title interest of the parties, a land register will be prepared under section 9(1) of the Odisha Consortium of Holding Act. And that land register will be supplied to each tenants. Suppose there are more than one tenants, but the land register will be supplied to each tenant. Even if in the khata there will be 100 tenants, then 100 copies of the land register will be supplied to each of the tenants. So this is another transparency in the act. So after this preparation of the land register, the law enjoins the tenants or any other person who are affected or who are likely to be affected by this such land register, they may file objection under section 9(2). And that objection will be registered as an objection case, and if there will be conciliation among the parties, if there is no dispute among the parties, then the assistant consultation officers are at the jurisdiction to decide the case on conciliation, and if there is no conciliation, then the matter will be referred to the consultation officer to disposal under section 11 of the Act. This is there, the law has been made. And after filing of the case under section 11, there shall be contest, where usually the parties they prefers to engage advocate to defend their case. So practically in section 1980 is a basic contest which takes between the parties to the litigation. And in that case, the consolidation authority, that is consolidation officer, he assumes the jurisdiction of a civil court. The procedure that is prescribed under Order 5 of the Civil Procedure Code for service of summons, the making the witness appear in the court, these are the provisions which are there under Order 5. So that are to be adhered to by the consolidation authorities. So the notices will be issued and the case will be decided. If any person is aggrieved by an order passed by the consolidation officer or the assistant of consolidation officer, as the case may be, an apparent jurisdiction has been conferred on the deputy director of consolidation. That is under section 12. In that section 12, the power has been conferred on the deputy director to see that whether the consolidation officer has acted rightly or wrongly. Then he will pass an order. Of course, the law says that the order of the appellate authority is final. But still then, there is provision under section 36 to file revision against the order under section 12. These are all about the preparation of land register, and it is up to section 15. Then after 15, a land register which has been all cases were disposed of or any other things has been done, then that a land register will be published under section 13. That after 13, it is said that that is the final determination of right, title and interest, and the person those who found to be recorded on the land register under section 13, they are the owner of that land subject to the revision under section 37 or pending revision under section 36. So this is there in the Act. So after 13 publication, the right title matter of the tenancy there becomes final. Thereafter, from section 16 onward, the consolidation authorities will go for amalgamation of the land, which we called the consolidations of holding. Thereafter, the consolidations holding starts. Then how they will prepare that? They will prepare that consolidations matter, or they will consolidate the holdings in accordance with the price that has been fixed. Suppose a person's total land is coming to 65 paisa or 6 rupees 20 paisa. That man will be accommodated for the land of 6 rupees 20 paisa in 3 chokos at best, keeping in view the potentiality of the land, and not more than that. So that is why the valuation of the land has been given in the Consolidation Act. Then a land register again will be prepared under section 18, showing the land to have been held by the person and the land which are to be allotted to that person. That 18 land register will cover 2 parts. One part is the land held by the person as per the 13(1) publication, and instead of that land, in exchange of that land, which land he is going to get, that has been there in that land register, that is called section 18. And after this publication under section 18, there is still provision to file the objection under section 19. Under section 19, the objections will be filed, and again it will be decided by the consolidation officer, and the guideline that has been prescribed to the consolidation officer that as far as practicable, the consolidation officer shall dispose of the case under section 19 at the doorstep. He will go to the spot. He will look to the nature of the land, the quality of the land, and whether the scheme prepared, the proposed to be allotted to a particular person, that has been correctly done or not, that is to be decided at the spot itself. So that is why that provision has been made. And after that, a land register will be prepared. The CHOCO will be, if deemed fit when proper, it will be modified. And if any person is aggrieved by that order under section 19, he can again prefer the appeal before the deputy director under section 20. And that 20 order is also revisable under section 36. This is also there. So in every stages, the provisions has been made for the persons or the landowners to approach or to ventilate their grievance in any competent forum. The forums are there. So in one way, we can say that the Consolidation Act is a very benevolent legislation, and it has been done for the betterment of the farmers, and by that there can be a better growth in our cultivation. This is one way. And what is the other way? What is the defect of this law? That also we have to see. Then what defect that is there? The first and foremost defect in this act is the persons are burdened with forced litigation. If a person is not desirous of fighting any litigation, but by coming into force of this Consolidation Act, all the landowners are bound to face the litigation. If a person sleep is right, ignorance are there in our area, illiteracy is there, our farmers are not conversant with the law, they are not coming to that with the belief that who will take our land. But that is the most dangerous and the bad part in the Consolidation Act. That the forced litigation has been imposed upon the farmers, and the ignorant persons, the simple persons, they have suffered a lot by this legislation. This is most and the important thing. The second thing is, the second defect is, this is a time-bound legislation. This is time-bound legislation means it will start in a particular time and will finish in a particular time. Because the funding has been made by the central government. The funds have been placed to the state government to implement the scheme, and from time to time the funds were announced, and thereafter in a particular point of time when the central government squeezes the funds, then the consolidation schemes comes to a paralyzed position. So in this way, these are the some of the lacuna that is there in the Consolidation Act. So the most important factor that now we are facing, the most important factor, land register prepare ହେଇଗଲା ସବୁ ହେଇଗଲା ସମସ୍ତେ ଆମେ ପାଇଲା land register କଲା. But now we are seeing that about 75% of the village in which the consolidation final publication has been made, the implementation has not been taken place. That is the prevention of, that is the enforcement of the scheme. That is section 23 to section 32. That has not been properly implemented till date. Barring some other villages, the most of the villages, they have villagers or tenants, they have not taken possession of their CHOCO. One thing. Second thing, no landowner can transfer their land in any other mode, save and except as per the consolidation record. Consolidation record jan na re ache jami se biki parba, baki log ye biki na parba. He is not in possession, but selling land as per the consolidation. That is another chaotic situation that we are experiencing nowadays, and that we have to remediate. That what we can do, what we the lawyers in that situation, what we should do, what we should advise to our client, what legal steps those persons should be taken. These are the points, and these are to be taken care of by our lawyers, who are in legal practice. That is the most important thing that we have to see. So in this way, the another point is the prevention of fragmentation. Prevention of fragmentation is state that no land can be partitioned or transferred so as to create a fragment. So what will be the fate and how long it will continue? And now the decisions of the Supreme Court and the High Court, they have said that it is perpetual. No limitation is there. No limitation act will there. It will remain as it is. So is it possible for the generations and generations to cultivate the land in a single choco? So this is also there is the lack of foresight of the legislator who have made the law. So we shall discuss because of the paucity of time. It is not the time because this matter, at least it will take 5 hours for discussion in the matter. So but now I am closing here, and if my friend Shukla will now, he will deliberate on this point, and thank you. Thank you all.
Honorable President and my friends present in this seminar. My learned friend has enlightened you about all the principles of consolidation. But there is another lacuna also there, that the civil power was given to the persons those are not competent enough to decide civil cases. Simply 2 or 3 months training was given to them, and they are to appointed as CEO, and they are to decide the cases, rights, liabilities, and title issue of the parties. So, in such circumstances, at some time, because the civil power is given to a person who is not competent enough, some miscreant persons influenced them and got the order in their favor. And at times, our poor persons, they could not prefer an appeal before the DT or before the Commissioner under Section 37, they are to suffer. Or they are to go to the Honorable High Court stating their grievance. But at times, people are so poor that they could not afford to think about these things. So this is another lacuna. And so far as the fragmentation, prevention of fragmentation question is also there. Nobody can sell or partition the lands which were allotted to them. Only in the provisions, it can be made only as per the provisions of them. And there is no provision of sale. If you want to sell your choco, you have to sell it to the contiguous landowner. Supposing the contiguous landowner does not agree, then the provision is there that you have to apply to the Tahsildar. And Tahsildar will have an auction in the matter and the government will purchase. But in fact, I have not come across any of the cases or instance that government has purchased any fragment. Those have been settled or decided by the Tahsildar. So another problem is there. Supposing a person is in need of some money and you want to allot only a few days, 10 to 15 days. But if the land contiguous landowner does not agree to the rate, then he is to suffer. He must agree to the rate which the contiguous landowner agrees. This is another problem that is facing.
In that view of the matter,
In that view of the matter, these are the anomalies or defects those are found in the Consolidation Act. There are several legislation made or the decisions are being made to remove those defects. But those defects cannot be removed because the follies are there in the act itself. There is no provision has been made. So in that way also, no doubt this act give benefit to the poor agriculturers. But simultaneously it also gave sorrow to them that in case such thing happened, they are to suffer. So in that way, we have to discuss and we have to try to remove those defects as far as practicable. Although there are other financial institutions, those who have to come to the rescue of the persons in need. But that is also another problem, that the rates of interest persons, those who are mortgaging his lands or portion thereof, they cannot be paid. In that view of the matter, those are also another defects. And legislation are required to be made on these points. And another things are there, the act itself is there, anything, any doubt may be clear by discussion. Here I close.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll have a question answer session.